Hello and welcome to this episode of Respectfully Hair Podcast. My guest today is Shaun Corby. He's an LA-based global creative director for luxury hair care brands and a fierce educator. He has a fantastic track record, which I will be asking him about, but today he is here to talk about his new passion for all things Olaplex. He is the Senior Director for Global Education. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you for that beautiful introduction.
I was stumbling over a few of the words there because you have a lot of titles in there, which is not very British.
Right.
It's very American.
Well,
Are you an LA born and bred? Tell us how you came to be in LA.
born and bred. So mom and dad actually met on Sunset Boulevard, bonded on bikes. So I'm
That is
aging myself
totally
here.
LA. That is
Yeah.
totally LA.
Mom had a Vespa and a really cute Sassoon haircut. She was that girl. And dad was a bad boy with a beard, with a chopper and a suicide clutch. So if anyone's listening who knows what that is, it's the Easy Rider.
Yeah.
It's really,
Wow. So if there's ever a biopic of your life, the
yeah,
opening scene is going to be amazing.
right, the
You know,
bikes.
this is how it started. So it's interesting because I've never had somebody, when I asked about how they got here, actually took me back to the moment of conception. But I thank you for that. Appreciate it. So
I love it.
you're here
I guess I
today.
should have followed up with born and raised there.
Great. But with a bit of a mixed heritage, hence the name. So have you always been Michael Shaun, or are you just Michael to your parents? Do you have a nickname? How do we address you?
Yeah, so Shaun Corby came from the beginnings in Beverly Hills. There were Michaels, there were Shauns, so I was like, well, I'll be Michael Shaun together. And then it just sort of evolved to MSC as
Right.
friends started nicknaming me MSC, but family have always called me Shaun.
Oh,
So if I see a message, if the phone starts with Shaun, I know you're a relative of some sort.
yeah.
If you just say Michael, it's generally I probably owe you money or something.
Okay, I'll bear that in mind for future correspondence.
But MSC is great. It's also shipping containers and sushi certification, so it's sort of a fun name.
Brilliant. So we're having this conversation in London. You have flown in and out a couple of times, I think, in recent weeks,
Yeah,
because you have this fantastic new role with Olaplex.
right.
How is it going? Is
It's
your head spinning?
exciting.
There's a lot to learn.
My head is spinning. Well, spinning in a good way. I've been around a while. We
Yeah,
were chatting a bit earlier, and with Olaplex, they are this giant. Everybody knows them as the billion-dollar brand that created the bond category, but for so long they lived on these two products that went into color and a little something you put on after, a bond perfector to protect it, to keep the repair going.
yeah,
But they hadn't really built out a full ecosystem, a brand like many other products have. That is happening now.
right.
And so it really is like building something from the ground up.
Yeah.
It's
Because I
like,
think it's about 11 or 12 years we've had
right,
Olaplex. I
exactly
feel
right,
something.
exactly right.
And I know from having met the delightful Tracy Cunningham in the past,
I love
how it
Tracy.
really just grew organically,
Mm,
really out of like, this is a wow product and we need to promote it and share it. And it was a game changer, really, wasn't it?
absolutely. And I love her stories and Tracy is so dear to me. We're both
Yeah,
Angelinos. It started with just these little white bottles
yeah,
that were made in a garage in Santa Barbara. It's similar to the Apple story, really.
yeah,
Something happening in a garage. And it was so good that she was like, I need it for Jennifer Lopez. I need it for
yeah.
the next thing I'm doing. So creating that thing that stylists couldn't live without, I think was a really strong start for
Yeah.
Olaplex.
Yeah, definitely. I remember it literally just appearing, and suddenly it was on the salon doors, and people were really promoting. So it really did seem to take off very quickly. But as we've said, it came out of this real burn of need and demand and supply, which is the best way for all products. Because
Yeah.
I think it's always a little bit sort of weird when a brand makes a product and then tells you need it. So
Right.
I think it's more interesting
Marketing.
to
We
go.
love marketing. Don't get
Well,
me wrong.
exactly. I know. Marketeers. Apologies. So would like all true game changers. Obviously, there's lots of people emulating it and then building it in, and the technology, once you've let the genie out of the bottle, then the technology is there, and it really has now become the sort of the Plex story, hasn't it?
Right.
Which is copied everywhere. But we're seeing this representation, if you like, of Olaplex
Yeah.
as a full-on care range.
Yeah.
So where are we up to now? 13 products, 14 products?
Yeah, exactly. And in different sizes, and the number one oil on the planet right now, our number 7 bonding oil. We really are at that opportunity moment to go from what we were,
Yeah.
which was the original bond builder, doing something completely different. Let's face it, everything has a bond in it now.
Yeah.
And stylists are thinking, well, if everything has a bond, they must all be the same. So there's two pieces, in my opinion. One is getting back to where we started
Yeah.
and really being your resource, your golden standard for treatment.
Yeah.
That care before and during and after. And so that during and after has to continue when you go home.
Yeah.
So giving them things like number 3 that they can use to reinforce those bonds. So every time you go to your hairdresser, it's looking better. You're a stylist, I'm a stylist. You know, they're in the chair and you're like, what have you been doing for the last 8 weeks? How does it get this bad?
Yeah, so quickly.
Having
You
that
ruined
sort of
my hair. It's beautiful hair I gave you, and now it's gone.
Styling it with a frying pan. What's happening here? So really being able to do that and then build that full ecosystem. Give them the ability to not have Olaplex be that one thing. Give them the ability to take Olaplex out of the drawer as their secret weapon to success, and give them a full range.
Yeah.
And we know, and we're seeing, if you build that, success is on the way.
Yeah.
So the brand just keeps growing and growing. It's just incredible. And lots of competition, as you know.
Yeah, but that's healthy. I think, it opens up the awareness, and I think it is, we are all going in the same direction. So, and if you're good enough, you shouldn't be afraid, if you like. So that's
there would be no Coke without Pepsi, I say, right? Just pushing
I wonder where you were going with that comment.
Oh, yeah. Well, you did work with rock stars in the past,
I did,
right?
Yes, I did.
Not
so no.
cola.
No, cola, right. You have arrived on your white horse with your education backpack on, ready to... What's the challenge? What is your mission, if you like, as the education director? What's your...
Yeah,
what have you been asked to do?
My biggest challenge is with lots of competition comes lots of misinformation.
Right.
The way we launched was letting top artists and really salt of the earth hairdressers take the product and interpret what was happening and put that into the world, into the ethos of this is how it works and this is what it does. And that's how you end up with complete myths like, oh, it can over-proteinize the hair.
Right.
Do you know that none of the products in question even contain any protein whatsoever? Right. Do you know how many products in the entire franchise have protein?
Yeah.
2.
Right.
And it's not the ones they're discussing. And that's a hydrolyzed protein, which we know isn't the old... We love Redken in the day. Remember PPT and it smelled, and that could, get a little crispy if you didn't know what you were doing. Or Infusium. I'm from the 80s where everyone got a perm and then put Infusium in it. Yeah. So first and foremost, let's clean up the messaging. Yeah. Let's dispel the myths that are out there about Olaplex. And let's show the proof. Yeah. And so really digging into clinical studies and just informing the team. Right. Also getting in there and really rebuilding from scratch everything we do so that we can be on that same message. Yeah. And my favorite part, bring in some creativity. Yeah. Styling classes, cutting classes. Believe it or not, they just haven't existed in these 12 years. You were never taking a styling class or a cutting class, only color. Yeah. Wow. So really broadening all of that. Making it a more rounded concept, if you like, to become part of the family and something to really sign up to. Yeah, and it seems like most people color their hair. I feel like as stylists, we tend to give the priority to the color client because her ticket's much higher and
Yeah.
she tends to be more loyal. But there's everyone else as well.
Yeah.
And there are salons who are only styling. So giving them an opportunity to work with Olaplex as well if they're not putting number one or number two
Yeah.
into their color formulas. So a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
First thing to do is to recalibrate the teams,
Yeah.
get them trained. Lots of exciting trainings, even bringing people to Florida in a couple months if you'd like to come on down. We find that's an easy to
Okay.
get
We got
people.
this. We've got this
Was that the
invitation on
official
film. Yes.
invitation?
Thank
Yes.
you. I accept.
And really just, bring the community together.
Yeah.
And we already have, we have Sam and we have Hallie and they're incredible ambassadors. Taking that, but also building a stronger collective
Yeah.
with a wider range of stylists. And again, everyone we have is fantastic. And having artistic teams and also having someone who can come into your salon a couple
Yeah.
times a year, have a play day with Olaplex. Maybe there's some products that you're not sure exactly how to use.
Yeah.
So we're really taking that 360 approach to the entire program and building it up.
Yeah.
I'm also hiring
Yeah.
in the local area if anybody's interested.
Which is it's a good way to bring me to my next question. I'm always interested when somebody has a global role because that's quite challenging. I mean, it sounds very important and very exciting,
Right.
and yet there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of world out there. So how do you start to manage the different countries? Do you see differences? Do you have to go and visit them all? Is this why you're moving around so much because you're trying to introduce yourself to all the territories? Because Olaplex is everywhere.
Yes. First, make sure you have a strong relationship. So, an understanding boyfriend is where that
Yeah.
starts, and a dog I miss very much. For me, I think virtual has just, it's where Olaplex started. They were only virtual
Yeah.
until Amanda came in, our new CEO, and really, said, hey, let's have an office. Let's build a brand. And
Right.
we're now based in Flatiron, New York. But virtually, you can do so much.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm missing a little sleep.
Yeah.
I start
The
calls
time
at 4
differences.
a.m. for
Yeah.
Europe. I start calls at 5 p.m. for Southeast Asia, and
Yeah.
everything else sort of fits in the middle. Being West Coast based, I think, is very helpful. My goal is to hit every market a couple times a year.
Right.
And
Wow.
because I feel like you can bring people to you, but it's important for you to get into their world,
Yeah.
see how they're teaching, see what their unique and special issues might be and where those opportunities are. So I think yes to all of
To
your
all of that.
suggestions. Yes.
And as an educator with a substantial history in hairdressing, educating, how are you seeing the evolution of the ways people enjoy educating and what is most effective? I mean, obviously we have technology, we have,
Right.
AI, we have the connectivity that we didn't have before.
Right.
Do you see a change from, say, 20 years, 10 years
Yeah.
to now?
Unfortunately, it's the micro education, and I'm sure you've seen it as
Yeah.
well. I saw it on TikTok, so now I know how to do it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we've got some stylists who didn't go through the art classes
Right.
and the skeletal structure and anatomy and the experience of seeing, well, that's one approach to the hair, but hair is like fingerprints, and so there are many different approaches. So for me, that's definitely what has grown, and at the same time, my concern.
Right.
What's gone away is the traditional hair show, and that breaks my heart a little because I was the guy who walked into my first hair show, and maybe you as well, where you're just like,
Yeah.
I want those
It's a
scissors,
it's
and
a whole new world. Yeah.
what's she doing there?
Yeah.
And whoo, and I think that these have become sort of flea markets, to use that word here, where it's like, oh, buy this ring and branded this and things that have nothing to do with hair. So somewhere between that micro and the share that is turned into a yard sale, I think that what is bubbling up is an event where people can connect.
Yeah.
People can kiss the husband and the babies and say, I'm going to have a weekend with
Yeah.
with my colleagues. I see more and more of that happen, regional events.
Yeah.
We found great success this year with Design to Defy. Naima Lafon, Guy Tang, Jacob.
Yeah.
We find that people want to come together for a few hours, spend a little time, have a conversation with an icon,
Yeah.
not just
Definitely.
watch the feed. So yeah, I would say that's where it's going. I also think, and it's something that is a big strategy for me, is building the online portal,
Yeah.
because at the pace everything's happening, we need the information where we want it, when we want it, how we want it.
Yeah.
So we can't wait for the class.
Right.
And so I need to be able to access that quickly. And that was one of the first challenges I discovered, was it wasn't so easy to become Olaplex certified. So how do we make that more approachable? How do we gamify it a little bit? I'm not saying South Park characters telling
No,
you how to
no.
use
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
but just making it more visual. We
Yeah.
are visual people.
Yeah.
I liked how you said earlier that we're kind
Yeah.
souls,
Yeah.
hairdressers,
Yeah.
right? We cry easy.
Yeah. Well, great empaths, really,
Right.
empathetic. And I think it's kind of the joy and the curse of hairdressing in a way,
Right.
is that, you stand in the salon and you absorb everybody's stories, and you go through the highs and the lows, and you kind of feel wrung out by the end of the day. And yet you also enjoy that. It's
Yeah.
like, it's very rewarding. It's, but yeah, I think people.
People, and you really do take it in, and thank you to all the spouses of stylists,
Yeah.
because I know that's that that's something they have to deal with, because it takes time not only to shed the hair, the prickly clothes full of hair,
Yeah.
decontaminate the bleach stains on your favorite blouse,
Yeah.
but to just decontaminate. But I believe we do take it in, that we're in this gorgeous industry where we can touch people, right?
Yeah.
Where you're
Yeah.
able to put your hands on the shoulder, and to help them have a bad day. And often I coach people when they're like, "Oh, I'm so busy today, and it's about me, and I just got back from France,"
Yeah.
and to remember, and we'll say your client's a woman today, but just to remember what she went through to get there on that day, not the 50 times she came
Yeah.
before, but maybe she had to arrange for a sitter. It's been on her schedule for 6 weeks. She talked to her friends about it. She talked to her husband about it, and she made the choice to be there and be with you.
Yeah.
So keep that in your mind, every single visit, and approach every visit with that intention.
Yeah.
Because the number one reason a client will leave you, why she will make a change, is because you won't.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
feel, oh, I want the bob, but we always, oh, you look great. Oh, cute. Let's go.
Yeah.
Same. So having that very intentional consultation is something you need every time. And it's something I'm implementing almost right away with Olaplex. I didn't see enough really intentional consulting to the
Yeah. Change your
individual.
client or they'll change you.
Right?
It's kind of how it goes. Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Where did she go? You didn't even notice for 3 months.
Yeah.
That's
And
how
they won't even tell
careless
you.
you were
Yeah.
being.
Yeah. Bless.
Right.
I think it's very, ultimately that is why hairdressing will survive,
Right.
throughout.
No AI for
Yeah,
that.
because of the touch, and I
Right.
think I'm very struck by how as people age, sometimes the only people who touch you will be your hairdresser, and then maybe any kind of medical or therapist, or, it's so important. We need to remember that in the way we speak to each other as well, and to be together.
Yeah.
And I think it's fantastic that we have the connectivity and the communication, and that you can Zoom anywhere in the world, and
Right.
all of this. And yet we still need to be together. And I think to be in the room together, and not even just watching a stage, although like you, I hugely advocate the actual hair shows, not just the partying. But I'm a great fan of the sort of the shows where you can be on the same level,
Right.
if you like. We have an event here called Colour World where we call it anti-zoo. There are no barriers. There's no walls. There's no fencing. There's no moats. You can literally reach out and touch the person who's speaking. Because if you look at young people, that's how they learn. They learn, and they multitask. They're on their phone and they're maybe making notes and they're talking to their friend and they're watching you. It's like
Right.
kids doing their homework with the music
Yeah.
on. You remember
Yeah.
your parents would say, take the music off, you can't concentrate. And you'd think, of course
Yeah.
I can.
It's better.
Well, now, young people they really do
Yeah.
multitask.
Yeah. I love that approach. I do agree that the younger generation, it's that there are adults, yes, but they've been learning differently and they've grown up in a world that, let's face it, they started post 9/11.
Yeah.
They went through giant dips in the economy. They're told they'll never buy a house. Then a
Yeah.
pandemic hits. They just haven't had a lot of breaks.
No.
And so I think the way they are unique and special and the way they're learning is something we really have to really give grace to how their life has looked compared to
Yes.
ours.
And not take the confidence for granted, because I
Right.
think I was going to talk to you about, the struggles in the industry, which I feel from having spoken to people and traveled to some degree are very similar. We might be miles apart, but
Right.
sometimes we hit things at a different time. Maybe some of the things that have happened in the United States, we're kind of getting here now, and
Yeah.
the change in the way people want to work and the focus on independence and freelancers, which I know in the UK people are finding very troubling.
Right.
So it's interesting that because we've had some world events like the pandemic
Right.
and then some of the environmental issues that we're having, and obviously from LA you had the terrible fires. So some of those are replicated in parts of Europe, Greece, similarly. So it's
Right.
kind of interesting, isn't it, how some problems are becoming global problems.
Global problems.
Yeah.
And I think we really need to, be there and embrace,
Yeah.
because I don't, some people say, oh, they're useless, they're lazy, don't underestimate younger generations.
No.
Everybody said that about millennials as well.
Yeah.
They all work now, they're all doing great.
Yeah.
I remember buying into that, oh, millennials are lazy. They are not.
No, exactly. I think, we need to build in tolerance.
Yes.
So what's the sort of, if Olaplex was a person, how would you describe them? What are the company values? Not necessarily the brand ones even, but you talked about, new people coming in and new ways of working and having the office in New York.
Yeah.
How would you describe the sort of values, the morals, the vision?
I'll make Olaplex a woman. She's
Okay.
a powerful woman with great ideas. I'd say she's a startup.
Yeah.
The billion-dollar startup. So she's still scrappy.
Right.
She's not afraid to change.
Okay.
I would say that she approaches things with collaboration. She's the kind of brand that you involve a lot of opinions. And I mean this, I've worked for a lot of places, which we haven't named, not a lot, maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Often people say we're collaborative, work cross-functionally.
Yeah.
You've heard this, right?
Yeah.
Very corporate-y, sorry, hairdressers. But they don't mean it.
Yeah.
You can tell the lights are off when you're giving an idea. They're very set on, well, the formula's approved, so deal with it.
Yeah.
That's not the way it is at Olaplex. And when you bring up an idea, people are kind.
Yeah.
And so it does feel more like that startup, like that's a good idea. Maybe we have time to do that. Maybe we don't, but maybe we can get to it next time. And Amanda said something because we're now building that culture. It's like we're starting fresh to identify who we are as a brand, and really caring about people.
Yeah.
And giving them the ability to work towards something together on a more equal plane. You'll see Olaplex has big meeting rooms, but everybody else is out on the floor working together, and get to a point where we can all stand back, feel proud, see my fingerprint in that, what we made. I'd say that's definitely who the brand is.
Yeah.
And also really getting back into that treatment focus, right? We created a revolution by treating the hair better from the very beginning. So I think you would see a lot more of that from her, Miss Ola.
And there's such a focus now on health, hair health and scalp health. I think, there's a preoccupation from consumers everywhere that's now what they're wanting. They're wanting to look at the whole face, not just the hair.
They just wanted to put makeup on it, right?
Yeah.
But if you have bad skin and you only do makeup, you're really not solving the problem. So I'm so happy that people are really starting to understand that
To look at the
it's
whole,
holistic. I'm from LA though. It's diet, it's so many
yeah.
things.
So then within Olaplex, you have come on board and you're bringing a fresh vision, the Michael Shaun Corby
Yeah.
take. What is your educational style? You're in the room, you have the attention. So how do you approach that? What would be the signature style for you?
Well, I think it's first, anytime I approach a new brand, I want to approach it with there's history. And with Olaplex, in only 11, 12 years, there's still a rich history
Yeah,
and there's pride for what they're doing. So we've all been in a situation where somebody says, this is the law, this is the way it is now, this
yeah,
is the way we say things. We have to remember these are adults with feelings. Adults learn differently.
yeah,
It's very easy to put people off. And so I first approach with understanding and kindness,
yeah,
and then I give information as to why we're doing things. I actually train on WWH for everything we do. There are a lot of artists, and we've all seen them. They're
yeah,
brilliant with their hands, but they say, I'm going to cut it like this or put this on.
yeah,
Any questions, they
yeah,
say. And I said, you don't have to ask any questions if you just continue to say what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and
yeah.
how I'm doing it. So
Right.
so let's take a fringe, for example.
Yeah,
What I'm going to do is a fringe.
yeah,
Why? Because she's got these features and a strong nose, and I want to really
yeah.
accentuate how I'm going to do it is I'm going to
It's
take my
this.
finger twist, take my shears. Now what I'm going to do, why,
Yeah,
and how.
yeah,
And so I try and turn it into a fun activity. Are we giving them this information all along? It's hard to find good educators
yeah,
now.
yeah.
You're not going to get rich doing it. Again, I reached out. Please join Olaplex Education. Education at olaplex.com
Yeah,
to give a plug. Um, you're not going to get wealthy,
yeah.
and I don't think either of us got into it to this
No,
was the big payday.
no.
You get into it because you love sharing with others. You love watching that
Yeah.
light go on.
I think that's the overriding point of difference with hairdressing from almost any other profession that I've ever
Right,
been involved with. I think
right.
this sharing is really special. You
Yeah.
don't see accountants teaching each other how to do their mathematics. You don't, do you know what I mean? It's kind of
Yeah. That's a good point.
and I think it's something that struck me. Obviously, you do have collaborations and musicians will write songs together and so on, but I think this whole
Yeah.
throughout this idea that you learn something and you share it and you take it back to your team, or that you want to do things, obviously a bit of competition is healthy, but
Yeah.
it's this idea that, you can learn from this person and that person, and you can be really loyal to this brand, but you can still check out what's happening here. And I think that's really
It's so
something we should
important.
safeguard.
And yeah, and again, I talk about remembering your client, what she went through to be with you that day, and how you show up is so important to her journey. Maybe she drove an hour and again had someone take care of the kids. It's the same when you're teaching a class.
Yeah,
And so it's very easy for sometimes educators or artists to get very nervous. What if they don't like me? The arms are folded. And I say, remember their journey.
yeah,
Remember they bought a ticket. Remember they chose to be with you.
yeah,
And the fact that it's just as easy to start with, they love me.
yeah,
There's love in the room,
yeah,
as it is to start with that loathing and
yeah,
doubt.
yeah,
Because that I believe that that's contagious. If you start with love, that's what's going to happen in the room.
yeah.
If you start with concern and shyness, then that's what's going
That's
to
going to
happen in the
happen.
room.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. So I think our time is coming to an end. So I'm just going to ask you one last question. What has delighted you? What would you share with people listening or watching this that has delighted you, that you've discovered about joining Olaplex, that you think, I wish everyone realised just how ...
Oh God, there's so many things beyond just everyone in the team
Yeah.
being so nice. I mean, they're really smart. We're talking Ivy League educated,
Yeah.
but always nice. Sometimes an idea comes out of my mouth and I'm like, well, that wasn't very good, but good idea, they say,
No
right? There's
judgment.
no judgment for it.
Oh,
And I love that. But I also love that it really surrounds itself by product development,
Yeah.
right? Chemists. You see lab coats in the office. That's
Right.
where it started, in a garage in Santa Barbara with scientists saying, can we do this?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Apple,
Yeah.
right? So having that and then getting to peek at what's coming next, I was like, oh, they're going to do it again.
Oh,
They're going to do it again
yeah.
because they're not afraid to dream. They're not afraid to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Amanda preaches, we are about progress over perfection.
Right.
She worries that you're not working on the right things if your PowerPoints are too perfect.
Yeah.
Progress over perfection.
Oh, I
And
love
that is
that.
something that just warms my heart,
Yeah.
coming from brands that were,
Yeah.
show me the numbers, show me the why,
Yes,
show
it's
me
all about the
this,
data.
prove it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Brilliant. Oh, that's a really lovely note to finish on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to my guest, Michael Shaun Corby. It has been delightful to talk to you about you, your ethos, and all things Olaplex.
Thank you. It was such a wonderful day.
If you have enjoyed our conversation, then please scroll down and read the show notes wherever you are listening to this podcast, and we will give you directions to find out more about Michael and his brand. And don't forget to check the library of conversations for Respectfully that we have on Spotify, Acast, and wherever you are listening to this podcast or watching us on YouTube. Until next time, thank you.